Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us for today's Chapter Leader Success Series. As always, Crew Network thanks our partners, specifically the chapters who partner with Crew Network as part of the Chapter Leadership Circle Partnership, which funds this webinar series. The Chapter Leader Success Series is a series of webinars that are intended to be a resource for Crew chapter leaders. They provide evergreen information and training and topics that are specific to running your chapter. You are all professionals in commercial real estate. Let us help you learn the business of running this nonprofit organization. So we have several different webinars from chapter marketing, communication, chapter governance, strategic planning, membership. Just check them out they're all recorded and posted on CrewBiz. And the recording and slides of this webinar today will be posted in CrewBiz, so we can continue to build our library of resources. So let's go ahead and jump in. Today's webinar is on membership renewal preparation. My name is Jenny Weisenbach. I'm Director of Chapter Services at Crew Network, and with me today is my colleague, Krista Lovett. So here's the basic format for today's program. I will start by briefly talking through the communication needs surrounding membership renewals, and then governance topics that chapter leaders should be evaluating. And then I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Krista, to dig into the actual coordination of the process. She'll talk us through every step, the pre-renewal process, the renewal process, and the post-renewal process, just to make sure everything goes smoothly. We will open the floor to Q&A at the end. However, if you have a question that you believe falls into one of these different categories and we don't address it during that section, please submit it in the Q&A. We'll check the Q&A after each section and answer questions in a moment. So before I jump in and talk about communication, I want to take a quick moment to define some terms so that we're all using the same language. First, the term renewals, which is what this webinar is focusing on, relates to members who currently have benefits during this term who need to pay annual membership dues to continue receiving those benefits into the next membership term. So these are people who have a continuous membership. Membership terms refers to a calendar year. So all memberships expire on December 31. Today is September 17, 2021. So we are in the 2021 term. But if you look ahead to the last bullet point, in just a few weeks, we're going to be activating benefits for new members for the 2022 term under that 15-month for 12-month promotion. These members, these 2022 members, will start receiving membership benefits during the last 3 months of 2021, but they're not considered 2021 members because they didn't pay 2021 dues. I'm stating that because they won't be listed on historical 2021 rosters or year-end member counts. They are prepaying for the 2022 membership term. So they're 2022 members who are just getting benefits early. The renewal season that we refer to is from November 1 through February 14. We allow this, 1 to 3.5 month period, because it gives adequate time to communicate. So members have time to budget or process the request through their corporate accounting departments. Since membership dues are sometimes paid by the companies employing the members, some employees want to pay 2022 dues in 2021 using money left over in the budget from 2021. Other companies are required to pay for organization or trade memberships in the year the benefits are being used. So they have to have the expense processed after January 1, 2022. So that's why we give such a large span of time. The grace period is the 45 days after December 31 that membership benefits are extended in anticipation of receiving payments. So Crew Network benefits are still available: discounted registration rates, access to members-only webinars, access to CrewBiz for discussion and resources. And then after that 45-day grace period is when we start to shut off those benefits. The last two on the slide aren't concerning renewals specifically, but I figured I'd toss them out here since this audience should be aware of these terms as well. These are for new members. So mid-year dues begin on July 1. This is a promotional discount for someone's first year of membership since they don't get a full year's benefit. A common misconception is that this is half price membership. It's not half price. It's a discounted rate. And we don't want to offer mid-year rates to late renewals because that's almost an excuse, an incentive for members to procrastinate on their renewals because they'll get the benefits through all of February, and then they won't have March, April, May, June, and then they can start again, but only pay half their dues. So we don't want to offer it to late renewals. And then I stated this last one in an early example. New members can join for the upcoming membership term as early as October 1. That includes rejoining members who, for right now, like if there were 2020 members who want to rejoin for 2022, they can do that. It's just renewals don't start until November 1. Okay, so let's dive in and talk about communication. Communication is so key to a successful renewal campaign and just to overall membership retention. But when we talk about communication, we aren't talking about just communicating about the process of sending invoices to the members to pay. Communication is a continual process. It has to happen year-round. So the value of membership must be promoted. Sometimes we must be reminded of how we use the tools and how we benefit from our membership, just to remember how much we rely on them. So Crew is all about connections, not only connections to other professionals, but to others who support our mission, to industry information. You see my bulleted list there. So talk about these connections, share your stories. You can talk about ideas that you were able to get from a Crew event with your boss, and just to show that you are getting this great value, and talk about how you used the network to connect one of your clients with a fellow Crew member. I mean, maybe you didn't get business out of that deal, but you made your client happy. Now you're Superwoman. That client's going to come back to you, and because they're going to realize you have connections. So just continue to talk about these. The awesome thing about sharing stories is that the more you share your stories, the more others think back and they go, oh, I have a story I can share. It's almost contagious. So as leaders, you also want to model the benefits and teach others. So use the open forum discussion on CrewBiz. Contribute to those discussions and then share what you've learned. Use the directory in the Crew Network app and then show other members how to use them. If leaders continually model and communicate the value from the podium and conversation with members at committee meetings, those benefits are going to be top of mind for members. So when renewals are mentioned in the fall, they don't question whether they should renew. It's just a question of when and how, because they don't want to miss out on the value that they're continually hearing about and seeing in their own professional lives. So if you are continually talking about the value in October, you're not going to have to make a hard shift, or you're not going to want to make a hard shift and be like, hey, you need to renew in November. Instead, you can continue talking about the benefits, and you can start talking about events that you're promoting or that are coming up in 2022 and be like, oh, we know you don't want to miss out on, our economic forecast in 2022. So don't forget to watch your email for renewal details next month. It can be more of a seamless transition. And then in November and December, you want to continue to share the value, of course, promote what's being planned for the coming year. In emails, starting in November and December, you should provide a direct link for members to renew online or information about how the renewals will be presented. Some chapters send a message from the incoming or outgoing president, or perhaps an ask for sponsorship. Those are great. They're very important to do. Make sure you aren't trying to put too many calls to action in one email. So if it is an email you want people to read from the president, you can put a little button or something to renew in it, but you want to make sure that your call to action is clear and you aren't directing members off in too many different directions. So make sure the call to action on your email is clear. So if it's an email about sponsorship, you might not want to include renewal information in it. But an email from the president from the incoming president saying, this is awesome, we've got so many things planned, you might want to do a call to action that is renew your membership, stay involved. Career Network Krista sends emails to notify members that it's time to renew once their invoice is available online. And then she continues to send reminder emails once a month, November through February, until their dues are paid. The email Krista sends is very simple and directs members to go online to download their invoice and pay. But I cannot stress this enough, chapters still need to send local messaging about renewals and include a direct link, and we will provide that direct link to you multiple times. When we do set up, and I thought I had it on this, oh yes, it is on this slide. When we set up the renewal invoices for your chapter members, you can literally direct anyone who inquires to the website, to the Career Network website, or to your chapter's website if you use one of the integrated websites. Krista will provide it to you many times. You don't need to grab it from the slide, but all they need to do is go to the Career Network website or your integrated website, go to the login panel, log in, then click My Account. And on My Account, you see I've got a little arrow going over to the invoices and receipts. There's truly nothing magical about the email that we send, that Krista sends. It's literally directing them to an anchor tag to that invoices and receipts page so they can see their invoice. There's some marketing information, just a little bit that, with direction to the URL. But if a member contacts you and wants to know how to renew, you can simply direct them to do this, to go here and download, to print the invoice and mail it in, or to just pay the invoice online. One quick note, the member is the person who gets the email. The member actually needs to log in and grab the invoice to provide to their accounting department, or they need to provide their credentials to their accounting department or whoever. We've had requests from a lot of different accounts payable departments saying, hey, can you just send the invoice to us? And we can't do that. The member has to go in and do that. We cannot keep a list of who all we're sending invoices to for all of our nearly 12,000 members. So the member will need to do that part. They can go to access their invoice. So they just go to the Career Network website, log in, click My Account, and then they'll see invoices and receipts, and it'll be the first thing there. They can also print their receipt from there if they need a receipt. They'll also get one emailed to them when they pay. Now in mid-January and February is when your chapter is going to need to coordinate direct communication with the members who have not renewed. Many times a personal call or email will be enough to get that member to renew. They'll be like, oh, I thought my assistant took care of that. Or, oh, I thought I did this back in November. My advice to you is to establish a plan of action before this time. So the people who are going to be doing the work, your committee members, your board members, they can begin as they have time in their schedules. Many chapters have their board of directors make personal phone calls. Others have committees divide and conquer. I recommend you split up the list, A through G, H through M, because then whenever they are ready to start making their phone calls, they can grab a current list from chapter management to see who still hasn't renewed from their chunk. If you just go off static lists, you're going to reach out to somebody who's paid since that list was provided. Okay, and then once the renewal season is over in March, connect with the individuals who didn't renew. Ask for honest feedback, discuss the constructive feedback with leadership, see if you can brainstorm solutions. We want to hear and know how we can improve. So if there's feedback that we need to hear, we want to hear it. please send it to us. Okay. Any questions on communication? No? Okay. So let's move on to everyone's favorite topic, the exciting world of governance. I'm just going to do a really quick overview of the bylaws and the budget mainly. So with bylaws, there are two aspects that need to be considered. So composition and categories of membership. So this slide shows the composition. This is Crew Network's requirement for your membership. So it should be analyzed at least annually. And essentially it's saying that at least 75% of the members of your chapter must be employed in one of the qualified fields of commercial real estate. And then a majority of your members, 51 or 50% plus one, must have at least 5 years of experience. So those are the two requirements. The requirements are set forth to ensure that at our core, Crew remains an association focused on the core professionals working in the commercial real estate industry. So take a moment to ensure that your chapter's bylaws include these base requirements and that chapter leaders are reviewing the actual metrics, which are available from chapter management every year. Okay. And then the second thing leaders should consider in the categories or in the bylaws are the categories. So this slide has a lot of words on it. And I'm not going to read them all to you, but just do a quick audit to ensure that the categories that are outlined in your bylaws match the categories that your chapter is currently offering. There's a lot of times that, you know, chapters will get off of what their bylaws say. So you can revise your bylaws or you can revise your membership categories. Either way, you just want to make sure you are following the governing laws you have set forth for your chapter. And then here's a question for you to think about. If dues rates are the same, are separate categories necessary? Just something for you to consider. I throw that out there because I know there are some chapters who still have a candidate membership category. And that is something that Crew Network used to require years ago, or not require, recommend. And we kind of did away with it, but some chapters still have that category. If there isn't a difference in the dues rates for the full and candidate membership, is it necessary? Just something to consider. And you can always reach out to Krista or I if you have questions about this. And the other part of the governance that I want you to, consult with your leaders about is the budget. Chapter leaders should start looking at the budget for the coming year in early fall, so right about this time. As part of that review, you need to consider, are there new initiatives your chapter is going to want to implement in the coming year? Are there special events? Are there new benefits that you're offering that are going to require additional funding? If so, you need to consider whether a dues increase will be necessary or if reserves or sponsorship campaign can be counted on for that increase. Dues rates for the coming year do need to be finalized before the end of September. This year, it's actually next Tuesday, September 21 is when they're due. And that's so that the next step, the logistics step by Krista, can be completed. A few things to think about with the budget. 50% match for the civic undergraduate student and retired membership. Undergraduate has to be separate from graduate if you're going to offer that 50% off, or if you want to utilize the match that Crew Network provides. Anything else I'm missing on that, Krista? Okay. Oh, and then I just want to say a quick, our finance committee, our audit committee, actually reviews the budget for consideration of dues increases every 3 years in conjunction with the strategic plan review. So increases are always going to be less than 10%, and they're subject to approval by delegates 1 year prior to the effective date. I'm telling you this because we are not having a dues increase anytime soon. The next review and consideration for a dues increase will take place in 2023 for vote in 2024 to go into effect in 2025. So this will be the same dues rate until through 2024 for sure. And then, you know, if a increase is decided that it's needed, then we'll go through that process. You'll have plenty of notice though. Okay. Any questions about governance reviews, looking at bylaws, budgets, any of that?
Yeah, Jenny, hi, it's Barbara Champeau in New York. Just because I think some of our membership chair is on. Going back to your point about membership composition and the industry experience requirements, that's the minimum, but a chapter's bylaws may have something that's more, correct?
Very good point. Yes, yes, that is Crew Network's requirement, but chapters may have tighter requirements.
Thank you.
Good question, Barbara. Okay, we're going to jump into the meat now. So I'm going to sit back and let Krista talk about the actual process. So Krista, I'll turn it over to you.
All right, so we're going to start with, the pre-process. So with the pre-process, there's two main steps included in this. And the first step is filling out that membership information form. And then the second thing would be to be completing the review of your chapter's membership roster. You want to go to the next slide? The membership information form communicates information about your chapter's membership structure for the coming year to Crew Network. This form is required by all chapters. Information is typically sent out in early August and is always due at the end of September. This year, the deadline, as Jenny said, is going to be next Tuesday, September 21st. By completing this, your chapter is informing Crew Network about the different membership categories that you offer, as well as the dues rates. Crew Network staff will use this information to provide good customer service when we are getting inquiries. So they understand that through your chapter, they are or they can become a part of the global network. When we know the basic data, we can provide it to callers while also directing them to your local contacts for more details. It helps to solidify that we are all one connected organization. In order to complete the process, you'll need to know the rates for the full and mid-year dues for each membership category for the coming term. And this year we added a little cheat sheet to the form that if none of your categories or rates have changed, there's just a checkbox that you can check to confirm that all your rates are the same. So there's no more entering all your rates if they are the same from last year. And you will also need to know if you have an application fee. So Crew Network can add the application fee to the invoice if your chapter does not already have a way to collect it at the time the application is submitted. All right, does your chapter offer a lower rate to motivate members to renew by a certain date? Incentives are another detail that need to be entered into the membership information form. Crew Network allows your chapter to offer a lower rate as an incentive to renew early. Because we do this process for over 70 chapters, we have to do it on a per set date to plan accordingly for the manual process and for ease of notification in the emails about the invoice. We have 2 dates that you can choose from. Discounts can be promoted as ending on Friday, December 17th, and then I will recreate the invoices at a higher rate the following Monday, December 20th. Or if you want a January date, you can promote January 20th and then as the deadline, and then I will recreate the invoices at a higher rate on January 21st. If your chapter is interested in promoting an incentive, you must select one of those 2 options. I need to know if this applies to new or renewing members or both. What is the amount of the discount and will it be applied to all of your categories or just a few? If you did not include specific details about the early incentive when you filled out the membership information form, I will need that information by October 15th. Another detail to discuss prior to completing the membership information form is prepaid event registration fees. So if your chapter is planning on offering a set fee to prepay for events and would like to have it as an add-on option at checkout, we need to know the cost and the details by October 15th. It's helpful for us to have a 1 to 2 line description and a link to the webpage or PDF for more information. And this 1 to 2 line description should include what type of events are included in that prepaid option, how many events are there, what is the usual per event fee to know that they're getting the discount. With this option, your chapter needs to be diligent about communicating the details. Crew Network will include that 1 to 2 line description in the email that we send to the chapters to notify that their invoice is available, but chapters should front load the members with information about this option before the invoices are set up. So that way they have time to consider and consult with their accounting departments. Having a 1-pager is helpful. Will they be automatically registered for all the events if they select this option, or will they be required to RSVP? Can it be transferred? Your chapter needs to provide these details to members or have a resource available that shows this information along with contact for questions. I need to know if your chapter is offering this, the amount, the short description, and when it should stop being offered. And I'll have to have all this information by October 15th if you didn't already include this in the membership information form. And this is a visual of how that's displayed. So when you add the membership invoice to your cart, a pop-up such as the one displayed will show up, and they have an option to include this with the invoice when they continue to check out.
I'm sorry, Krista. Next. For some reason, it won't get off of that. Oh, there we go. Sorry.
And then for the final part of the membership information form, it'll ask you to, it'll ask if you have agreed to look over your roster review. And membership committee should split up this roster and take time to look through it. And I think Jenny kind of touched on this a little bit previously, but look for any blank fields such as blank QFCREs or years of experience in the industry. And then you can send their correct values to me and make sure that their QFCREs still align with what they do. If members have changed jobs, are they still in the industry? Check their LinkedIn or reach out to them. Send out emails to ask all members to verify the information in CrewBiz and or fill out their demographic fields. Identify blank values and consult with them to fill in all the blanks. Take a look at the email addresses as well. This is what's used to log in to access their Crew Network benefits. So if this email is incorrect, then they're unable to access their Crew Network benefits. And another thing to look for is their category changes. Crew Network doesn't automatically change these. So if they're in an associate category and they've reached 5 years of experience, it doesn't automatically change them to full. You'll have to go through and look through those years of experiences, or if a student has graduated and needs to be upgraded to the next membership category, all those changes will need to be sent to me. And aim to start this process in September. Members should be instructed to update their contact information on CrewBiz, and category and changes and edits of QFCRE values should be submitted to me by mid-October. Okay, now we're going to get into the details of the renewal process. Did anyone have any questions about the pre-renewal process?
Yeah, I do. So on the QFCRE, I believe that's supposed to be based on what the member, him or herself, actually does, right? Rather than what their company does. Is that correct?
Correct, that's correct.
And so what if it does change? I mean, are we supposed to tell them that they can no longer be a member or something? If it were to change to be something that, you know, say that the job changed so that they're no longer in a QFCRE, but their company is in the real estate business.
Can you give me an example of that, Barbara? Like, and here's why I asked that question, because would they still be able to add value or give benefits, give business to another crew member if they are not working in one of those specific fields?
I'm going to give you an example. It's probably not a particularly good one, but suppose somebody starts out at a title company working as a title examiner or a closer, something like that. And then they get promoted to be a manager in the human resources department, working on the company's some aspect of human resources. That's not commercial real estate. So
No.
what about that person?
That person, in my opinion, is no longer qualified to be a member of crew.
Okay. That's my impression as well, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Good question. All right, and now we're going to get into the renewal process. So most chapters have Crew Network handle the invoice creation and payment processing. So this step is completely handled by Crew Network staff. Although, as Jenny stated earlier, we do recommend that your chapter does local messaging around renewals and direct them to the URL, the URL where they can access their invoice. And that URL will be sent out. I'll also be sending that out with the monthly dues reports. So you'll see that in quite a few places. We'll create the online invoices, which are accessible by logging into the My Account on crewnetwork.org and from any chapter websites that are built on the integrated platform. If your chapter administrator would like these electronic file of the invoices, you can request a PDF, a request of the PDF of all the invoices, and you can request that in the membership information form. Crew Network will email members once the invoices are ready, and it doesn't email them the actual invoice. It is a notification that their invoice is available on their account. And we provide the link in that email as well. So they should be able to just click on that link, log in, and be able to access it. And we'll continue to send that email each month from November to February to members who haven't paid. And as soon as that membership payment is received in our office, they'll be removed from our list to send them an email. Or in a real-time list of members who are still unpaid is available 24/7 to all the chapter boards from the chapter management portal. Crew Network provides reporting twice a month from November to February, showing the members that paid for that time frame, any additional fees that were collected, and such as application fees and the total amount that corresponds to a deposit that's made in your local bank account for your chapter's dues. And it looks like it was just that link is just submitted in the chat as well. And this is where that link will live. So you'll go to My Account on the crewnetwork.org homepage, and it's under the Invoices and Receipts tab. And just a reminder that the member is the one who's going to be receiving this email for notification. Remember, our memberships are based on the individual and the experience of the individual. So they're the ones who will be receiving the notification and expected to go in to download their invoice and then forward it on to their accounting department or whoever needs to pay the invoice for them. Okay, and the final we're going to talk about the chapters who pay the Crew Network dues on behalf of that person. So this is done for a variety of reasons. Sometimes the chapters waive dues for their founders or for past presidents, or maybe your chapter gave out a scholarship to cover dues, or perhaps your chapter had a raffle for a complimentary membership. Probably the most common example is when chapters include membership dues as a benefit sponsoring at higher levels. And to streamline this process, last year we started a form where you would submit all of the members that your chapter is paying for. So we're going to continue to use that form. Leaders will just submit basic information about the renewing member and how much, and it'll explain like this is how much total that's going to be taken out from your chapter, or if you're paying by payment or a check, if you're paying by credit card. And that's all going to live in this form, so that way any crew staff member are able to assist. And please submit all new members to me via email. That way I can get their application forms from you, any questions I have. But any renewal that is being paid by the chapter will need to be submitted through this form. And This is where on CrewBiz, this is where that that form lives and talks a little bit about it. So under the resources tab, there's a membership toolkit, and you can see it highlighted here. It's another thing that will be sent out with the monthly dues report as well. All right, were there any questions about the renewal process? Okay, so we will talk about what happens after the renewal process. So in late February and March, the February 14th is the final deadline to get membership payments in. However, we don't terminate those benefits right away. First, we make sure that all chapter board members have been renewed. And if they haven't, we'll notify your chapter. We make sure that all payments that have been received in the office are processed, so there's not checks lying around anywhere. And any outstanding questions that have been sent in are resolved or flagged to continue to receive benefits until there's a resolution. Then, since all chapters have different reinstatement policies, we'll delete all of the unpaid invoices by the end of February. So then at the very end of February, that's what terminates the benefits for unpaid members. So February 14th is the publicly pushed deadline, and then end of February is when they'll will actually be terminated their benefits. And reinstatement details are up to each chapter, but it's not difficult to create an invoice on our end. So simply advise if they need to go through the reinstatement process, or if they're okay to just have an invoice, a renewal invoice recreated again. And I think this past year we had quite a few come in March, but easy enough just to recreate those. And then as soon as the payment is received on our end, the membership is automatically reinstated. And then this is just a clarification of priorities for me during renewal season. So first of all, I'm always focused on, so the first thing I look for in my email is new approvals. Since new members don't have their membership benefits yet, those are the ones that have the priority to get processed. And you know, we want to make sure that they get their benefits while they are still excited. You know, they were just approved. So we want to make sure that we get them included while they're still excited. And then comes the renewals, and they already have their benefits. So that's why they're second in line. But any questions regarding renewal, recreating in the renewal invoice or anything will come next. And then lastly, any kind of incomplete information like checks without a reference number or an invoice number on them, and those will be in my third priority. And this year, Crew Network is looking at getting additional help for the 2022 renewal cycle. So hopefully you'll see significant improvement in responsiveness this year. All right, does anybody have any overall questions? Was there something in a section that we didn't cover?
I have two questions. One, last year, because of the economic hardships many members had as a result of COVID, there was an installment payment process and a deferral date till I think June or something like that. Is anything like that going to be offered this year?
Payment plans will be, the installment plans will be. We can still offer those.
Okay.
I believe we have a set date of when we need that information by. I don't want to say it because I'm not for sure what date we need that by, and we need the final payment in by, but we are still accepting those.
I'm pretty sure it's the end of June.
That sounds right.
Yes, we don't like to advertise the payment plan option as a, you know, just for every single person, because it is a manual process for Krista. But we definitely want to help out if that's helpful to people.
And this is just for somebody having a hardship, correct? Yeah. Okay, thanks.
This is Robin. Just to follow up on that question. So essentially, if we find out from a member that there's some kind of hardship and they need a payment plan, do we reach out to you all, or do they reach out to you all? What's the format for that?
So I will need approval from your chapter in order to be able to do a payment plan. So if they reach out to me directly, I copy in the chapter leaders. I send them the form that they need to fill out, and then I just ask for your approval. If they reach out to you first, if you want to send them my way with saying I approve of them having a payment plan and include them, because I do have a form I have them fill out that I could get their credit card information for and stuff, but I will need your chapter's approval for those.
And is it a set payment plan, or do you just work with the member to decide kind of how they need to pay it?
We have set dates. Since it is a manual process, we have 2 dates a month that we give them the option of when they want to, if they want it processed twice a month, if they want it processed just once a month, and they can come up with the amount that is processed each month or each 2 weeks as well. It's just we need the full payment by the end of June.
Okay. And I'm sorry, Robin Nolan, Crew Denver. I didn't introduce myself. Thank you, Krista.
Well, it's Reeves.
I think that was an unmute by accident. Any other questions? We left lots of time for questions, so I don't care how small of a question it is. Go ahead and shout it out because you've got Krista and I right now.
Hey there, I have one. You guys mentioned earlier that we can use chapter management as a tool for, instead of circulating an Excel spreadsheet to everyone. We've always used the Excel spreadsheet. I was wondering how that works in chapter management. Is there just a list, and then you're suggesting maybe just give everybody letters of the alphabet, or what were you thinking?
Yeah, the kicker here is that I'm showing chapter. Can you all see chapter management right now?
Yeah.
Down here, and Krista, you'll have to remind me, it's up here during the renewal season, correct?
Yeah, so now until the end of December, this is what your renewals are going to look like. So now until the end of December, if you click the total members and you download that, you'll be able to tell who has not renewed yet by who has. By their status will be changed to paid 2022. And then starting in January, there's going to be a whole nother section that says not renewed, I believe is what it says. Yeah, so that status is going to be changed to paid 2022 if they have paid. And then Jenny, does that sound right? Like then in January, there's another section right next to total members. Yes, it'll separate them out a little bit more.
Typically just right over here. It's hidden right now. And it'll say your total member number on January 1 is going to drop significantly because it's going to be showing the current members for the current term. And remember, current term is January through December 2022. So on January 1, 2022, this total members number is going to just reflect the people who have already paid their 2022 dues. Everyone else will be listed in a section over here. So it'll say pending renewal or something like that. And then it'll have another number that you can click and again, export. And we just recommend chapter boards have access to chapter management. So if you want the directors or the maybe you want your membership co-chairs to have access to this during the membership renewal period, just let Krista and I know and we can activate that for them.
Thank you. That sounds great.
This is Robin Nolan again. A question about checking on the roster. Where do we look at the roster and all that to check on it? If you could just show me that.
I should just keep chapter management open.
That'd be great.
So total members, this is your roster right here. So if you click on this and then you click the export to Excel, are you guys seeing the Excel when it opens?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is what you will actually, it opened on my other screen. This is what you're actually going to be looking at. It shows all of your members. It shows This is the member product they have right now. This is what Krista thinks she's going to be renewing them into this membership product. So think of this as, you know, full, associate, civic, student, undergraduate, you know, all of those. This is what you need to be looking for here. Obviously, this is for our Crew UK chapter. So this is going to update to paid 2022.
We're not renewing 2022. If they've reached out to us directly saying we're not interested in, I'm not interested in renewing, it will update to not renewing 2022, and their membership benefits will stay intact until the end of the year.
But this is the data that we want you to take a look at. You know, are they still at this organization? Is this address correct? You know, if you know that the CBRE office that was on oh goodness, of course, I don't know how to say these words, Pasterner Row. If you know that office closed because you are familiar with this, you know, reach out to that member and get their new address. Or better yet, send an email to all your members and say, hey, in anticipation of renewals in November, make sure you go into CrewBiz and update your record. And if you put them in charge of updating their record, then all you have to look at is the years of experience to see if, well, no, they can update that too. Where is QFCRE?
It's on the other end.
Other end. Okay. QFCRE and category. Because those are the two that they cannot update themselves. And organization, but there's a little form that they can fill out so that we can update their organization.
And Jenny, they would make any changes through their CrewBiz profile, is that right?
Yep. They go to CrewBiz, and there is some confusion. CrewBiz, let me just go here. So CrewBiz has, let me get my profile. The data that is on the left side of CrewBiz is actually updated on my account. So when they log in on the Crew Network website, or if your chapter has an integrated website, they would log in over here, they would click my account, and this is actually where they're going to go to update all of it. But they will get there from CrewBiz because all of this stuff takes them to edit my account. So everything on the left side here will just redirect them to here so they can update it.
And then when they're updating it, the invoice and receipts tab is right two tabs over.
Right, and this is where they can see their membership invoice.
I have a question.
Yes, Rebecca.
This is Rebecca Mott out of Columbus, Ohio. If the roster is reflecting, for example, a general category of law for an attorney, can we expand upon that and include what kind of law? Because I think we're only interested in the commercial real estate aspect of law, or is that already assumed under the law category?
That is assumed under the law category.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And hi, this is Katie from San Francisco chapter. I'm curious about, so I'm sorry, what were the two categories that they can't update? Is that just the QFCRE and the membership type? Those are the only two?
Correct.
Okay, so we would need to tell them if they have updates in that to let us know, and then we can change it. But their years of experience, they can change themselves.
They can change years of experience. Typically, the member themselves should not be telling you their category or their qualified field should change. They can't, general members cannot see their qualified field of commercial real estate. The QFCRE is a value that is designated by you as membership contacts for your chapter as a determination of it's in this field that this person is qualified to be a member of Crew. So if it is a person that is working as an architect in an engineering firm or in a construction firm, they are qualified because they are an architect. They're a commercial real estate architect. So that is their QFCRE, even though their company may be a construction firm or something. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so it's basically, we would just look at what, if they updated their title or, yeah, I mean, it's like, I was just thinking we have like over 200 something members. So I can't go to everybody's LinkedIn profile and see what they have.
You have a full-time job on top of this, Katie? What?
I know, it's crazy. I know. I'm sure everybody else has all the time in the world to do that. So.
No, we appreciate all of your work to make sure that the data is correct and current. And, you know, this is something you can do roster reviews at various times during the year so that you don't have to do it all at once. But, you know, we just want to make sure we're creating renewal invoices to the right people at the right address.
That seems reasonable. Yeah.
What other questions?
Jenny, can you please repeat something you said earlier on, specifically with regard to the student membership? There was something about there's a difference between a graduate student and an undergrad student. Can you repeat what you said there? I missed it.
Hi, Lindsay. It's nice to see you in person, right?
Hi.
Okay, so I was talking about, let me see if I can pull up that page. Are you seeing this composition PDF?
Yes.
Okay. So I'll also include this when we send out the recording. What I was talking about there is that for these three categories,
Yes.
Crew Network will match any discount given by your chapter. So if your chapter discounts dues, we will match that discount up to 50% off.
Okay.
So, but we do not do that yet for graduate student members. It's always been a, you know, it's always been a consideration, but it has not happened yet. So for graduate student members, they have to pay full Crew Network dues. Undergraduate student members, Crew Network will match a local discount.
Interesting. Okay. So if, and I'm asking specifically because this is something we're looking at doing and finalizing before we send you our info on September 21st. So if our chapter charges the same dues rate for graduates and undergraduates, but that rate is a discount from our general membership rate, or then Network would only match the discount for the undergraduates.
Correct.
Undergraduate members. Okay.
Correct.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, and some chapters opt not to separate them or differentiate them in their bylaws, but they do in their categories just to take advantage of this discount, the discount match. So that's one of those things that, you know, if you say you have a student membership in your bylaws, you're not breaking the rules by separating out that student membership into two different categories on your actual application form and dues collections.
Okay. Good to know. I also think it's interesting that it's a, you know, that the student has to be full-time, you know, because I would assume in my brain, you know, a graduate student could be someone who's already working in a field of commercial real estate, perhaps, you know, in an administrative capacity, and they're pursuing some sort of, you know, graduate degree, MBA, or the sort in order to promote. So they're not full-time, you know, they're not a full-time student. So they would still be a general member, correct?
Yes, they would still, if they're not a full-time student, they would be a general member, yes.
Okay.
Okay, question from Casey. I have an application from someone with a residential company who states she only works with residential real estate investors. Is this acceptable as a qualified field? Barbara, your answer is correct. If it's multifamily, it is considered commercial. Crew does consider multifamily projects as commercial. If it is not multifamily, then probably not. Does that answer your question, Casey? Okay. And I feel horrible because of the answer I gave Barbara earlier. Your mic is broken. I just want to reiterate, we wish that, every single woman who is, motivated and, wants to help women advance, we wish that every single one of those women in the world would join Crew. However, we are a commercial real estate association first. So we always have to remember that our members need to be in the commercial real estate industry. Britt, I see your mouth moving, but no.
Type it.
Oh, now I hear you.
Ask about single family rental properties like Invitation Homes. It seems to me like that would qualify as commercial because it's very similar to the multifamily.
Okay, you're cutting in and out. You'll type it? Okay. Multifamily is pretty much the only variation of residential that is considered commercial. So I don't know if that helps.
Can I add something to that, Jenny, that you guys might want to think about? Over the past few years, there's been an increase in the number of homes and development of home communities by investors and developers for single family rentals. And in a way, that's kind of like a horizontal multifamily, correct? So wouldn't that kind of count? Think about it. I don't think the issue's come up before.
Yeah. No, it's something I will, I'll mention that, but it's currently, and I just gave Britt the answer to, not currently, that is not considered commercial. Anyone else? Well, I guess we can hop off 3 minutes early. Thank you all for your time today. It was great to see some faces and hear some familiar voices.
Thank you, Jenny and Krista. Very helpful.
Thank you so much.
Yes, this is great.
Yeah, thank you.